Hey, how about that? I hate technology so much, but I love it. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, you all are doing a little bit better than me because I have had almost everybody who knows me and knows about a lot of the crap that I've been through over the last couple of years. Uh, One thing I really haven't pushed out there or talked about is the epilepsy that I get affected with. And it's uh, it's not like normal epilepsy where you goldfish all over the ground. Uh, Mine more takes the form of losing the ability to communicate, and words turn into hieroglyphics, and sometimes it lasts for just a breath, and sometimes like this afternoon, uh, it went on for about 20-30 minutes. So not going to focus on that too much because hooray, another medical problem, Max. Please tell us about it. Yeah, I'm just falling apart. The wheelhouse is broke and the Titanic is going down, folks. But that's okay because and listen, you want to see it happen in real time, check out last Tuesday's Figure Fight Club, because I am fairly certain close to hour two of that broadcast, I had a full on seizure. And it was, yeah, it's good times. So, oh, we're going to get, I think comments are working. I don't know. StreamYard is acting really weird today. But so somebody in comments post up whether or not this shit is working, because I would love to. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a great show for you tonight. In the tradition of the ancient New Guinea priests of shrinking the heads of their adversaries and mounting them as war trophies, we had for you tonight, folks, the head of LaserPants. You might know Mr. LaserPants from wonderful shows like the 3POA podcast. And my personal favorite, the on hiatus, loose but complete, which needs to come back, by the way. That was my Wednesday night. So tonight we have for you the head of LaserPants. This man right here. Look at those little cheeks. So cute. Just cut it right off and mount it on a stick. This stick right here. That's right. We have a miniature head of Mr. LaserPants himself. And tonight, I am going to do something that I have not gotten to do for a while. Just break out all the paints, and we're going to paint this head. Hello, Miss Elise. I hope you're doing well, ma'am. My brain is trying to permanently go, yeah, but I'm holding in there. So um I almost considered canceling tonight's show. Just because just when my wife gets that look on her face of I'd kind of, I usually take a step back at that point and say, "Hmm, maybe I need to take a minute." But I would die for my audience, and probably currently am. But I going back to the epilepsy thing, for the last couple days, it has been bothering me a lot. So at any point during tonight's stream, if I start acting funny or it's like I said, it's not a physical thing. It's all up here. It's brain damage from 30 years of head-on collisions on a motorcycle and you know T-boning somebody in a 63 Chevy van and when I turned 30 I'd destroyed one vehicle for every year I'd been alive. Abby, we were just talking about you. So the epilepsy for me takes its form with it takes its form in aphasia. I lose the ability to communicate. All words turn into stuff that I can't pronounce. I can't speak them. Things like that. It's Mr. Abby can tell you, Mr. Figure Fight Club in the house. He personally witnessed this the other day. But I just want to tell, and the only reason I'm talking, this isn't something I normally talk about. But the neck thing that people will understand. Okay, you got cyborg parts. Your knee's gone out. Well, yeah, you're a fat old man, Max. So yeah, we get that. Um, uh, yeah, and I am currently on gabapentin, 6 pills a day. Uh, but it's this is this brain damage that I've gotten it's permanent. It is typically progressive and non-reversible. It's not going anywhere. But again, the reason I'm saying something and starting this show with talking about this is because I don't want anybody to freak out if it happens tonight while I'm on the air. So, it's it's so, I mean, sometimes it's very brief. Sometimes it's just I can't remember what that damn figure's name was, and that's just a ill preparedness and stupidity taking its part. There's no accounting for that either. But you pretty much know it when I'm having a seizure. Again, I look like I'm struggling. I look like I want to communicate, and I can't. So it's just something that I've got to work around. And if you're going to join me on this show, you get to work around it too. But yeah, this isn't one of those times. This is just ill preparedness. We're going to have fun tonight, and we're going to paint a miniature because this little head of LaserPants. LaserPants is somebody, if you're not familiar with them, if you like toys, you just like having a good time, he's definitely somebody to check out. 3POA podcast. I have been enjoying them. I discovered him pretty much almost at the beginning of COVID. And he's been fun to follow over the last 4.5, 5 years. And he is very much involved with the Valaverse, put some spec on that name. Valaverse action figure line. He's very good friends with the owner, Bobby Vala. Does a lot of the conventions and things like that. So hopefully, and these little heads do fit on the Valaverse figures. Tonight's episode is going to be a whole lot of watching the fucking paint dry. So that's why I got this little guy, because we're going to do a little bit of painting on him too. So what we've got, I want to go, I want to kind of get to it. Usually I spend the first, Elise, I got to tell you, it's, if you find this happening, you should probably get checked for OPLL. It is definitely something. It's my neurosurgeon said that he is seeing it more and more in the Midwest. And I can't stress this enough. This is not your spinal ligaments turning to bone. OPLL is not something that anybody looks for, because it's only super common in Japanese people in Japan. So they're very familiar with it. Here in America, nobody thinks about it. So everybody, if you haven't had it usually shows up in a CAT scan as kind of a little cyst in your spine. Anyway, nobody wants to hear about this shit, Elise. Hold on one second. Let me turn on some light. Woo! Let there be light, he said, and there was light. Yeah, OPLL. Yeah, it's a bitch. That's the whole reason I didn't get this shit done in my neck, because anything other than that, it was pretty much just to cut out the back of my spine to make room so my spinal cord would quit being compressed. That is 100% why I have a C2 to T1 spinal fusion. So good times. All right. So LaserPants does whatever a LaserPants does. I want to go over, starting tonight, with kind of a list of supplies. And first thing that you need when you do art is goddamn reference. It's not that hard. Getty Images, Google image search, whatever you're doing art-wise, it is super easy to find reference. In my case, I used a healthy amount of stalking. So these were all taken without consent. Now, LaserPants doesn't know I have a camera hidden in his basement, but the secret's out. All right, Elise, no more talking about health shit. I've had a day of it. I don't want any more. All right, what we're going to be doing tonight, we are going to be working with, well, first thing you're going to need is a miniature to paint. A little LaserPants head, everybody. Now, I've already taken the time. This is a 3D print, and I've taken the time to prime this. Now, anytime I work with flesh tone, I start with green. And you're like, green for flesh tone? Yeah, I know. But let me tell you, over $100,000 and 40 something years of art lessons, there's a reason for this. Always mix green in your flesh tone. And don't ask me why it works, but it does. And I'm going to prove it tonight. This is a master's technique. It's called an underpainting, especially when you're dealing with acrylics. It's a lot more relevant in oil painting. It does touch a little bit when you're dealing with watercolors, and that it's very, very good for acrylics, because it doesn't matter how thick your acrylics are, you're always going to get just a little hint of what's underneath it. And when what's underneath it is green, especially on flesh tones, it's going to appear more natural. You just get that fleshy color. Now, I'm not going for super duper realism tonight, but we're going to try to get pretty close. I am working with Citadel. I have got a shit ton of it. You can never have enough paints. Now we're going to be sticking a lot tonight with now I had to actually borrow these back from my kid because I gave them all to her. That one looks a little thick. Now, what do you do with some thick acrylic? Airbrush cleaner. Take a little bit of this. Now, you can also use a little distilled water, but I like just put a couple drops in when you got some of these thick old Citadel paints. Yeah. Yeah. Max knows how to get them wet. Good stuff. So some of the ones that we're working with, I've got some, fittingly, not fittingly, because I believe that LaserPants is about 7'4", but we're going to use some dwarf flesh. I've got some, and this is kind of some rare stuff, but the Kindle Flame, Elder Flesh, Sepia, which is always, it's a wash. Always let your washes dry. Got some Nolan oil, Reekland Flesh Shade. Now this is really good stuff. That's always have. And listen, this is a little secret. Hand sanitizer. This stuff is fantastic. You make a mistake, you need to make it disappear. This is like the eraser for the acrylic world. We're also, and I like it a little bit more since I got it primered. It has a little bit more texture to it, but I'm actually thinking about adding a little bit more texture, and I might do that with some of this green stuff. Just going to kind of see how that comes out. Hello, sexy assistant. Fingerprints done. Yay! Did they tell you what they charged you with? Oh, Grand Theft my heart. That's wonderful. Give me some love. See, sexy assistant. All right. The other thing that we've got that, okay. Listen, if you didn't catch me on Figure Fight Club and hear me talk about how bad Nacelle's RoboForce is, my wife is now going right now to return those pieces of shit. The other thing that is crucial that a lot of acrylic artists never utilize. And this is just this. Now, this one's done by Army Painter. This is what's called a wet palette. Now, what this does, now, normally you have has a little sponge right here, and you take a little parchment paper and it goes over the top and wet this down, and you put a little dab, say I'm going to be using, I got to get those dishwater blonde locks painted. So take a little bit of this brown paint, put it on there while it's wet. And instead of constantly, that one thing that a lot of acrylic artists do, and if it works for you, that, it's fine, but they don't need as much acrylic paint as they think they need. You take it right out of the bottle. It's really thick, and you just get it on there and you smear it around, and then you're spending half your time just trying to work it. If you're using a wet palette, and I'll show you some of that tonight, you can do thinner coats, and you work with layers, and layers are a great thing. Now, this little Army Painter, you could pick this up. It's also got a little brush holder in the top with, dear gods, I don't even want to tell you how much it's in brushes. It usually comes with a bunch of extra little parchment papers. Now, you can actually make one of these. Next time you go to the store and you get you one of those little Hillshire Farm roast beef containers, it's got the little red lid that pops off. Take that meat out, throw it. Y'all eat too much damn red meat anyway. And just take what I found is better than those little sponges. Get you some of those blue paper towels. Cut it to size. Go into your mom's cabinet, grab a little parchment paper, cut it to size, and you don't need much water. I'm gonna show you because I need to go ahead and get this wet down. Here's another secret that that professional painters hate them for. This one secret: distilled water. This right here, this shit will mold. And when it molds, it nasty. So whenever I can, I use distilled water. That way, if I find out that I'm not going to be able to finish this tonight, but I still want my palette, everything, every color that I've been using, I don't want to, if I remix something custom, I don't want to, have to think about what I had to use to get that. So with a wet palette, I can just close the lid and then go work on it again tomorrow. Yeah, shop towels are fantastic. So now you've got it good and wet. You whispered those sweet nothings into its ear. And then you just take that wet palette and you're just going to put it right on top. Now, you don't want water on top, just enough to where it'll soak the parchment paper. In fact, if you get too much water, you can always just take a little extra and, pop the corners just to make sure. You don't want it too wet. Now, you want to, I typically like to have at least 5-10 minutes letting this kind of soak. Just put the lid back on it. I'm going to set it over here to the side. And J-Mac, I also am a little spoiled shit because I also like distilled water in my rinse cup. I say mine, my daughter's rinse cup. Another thing to do, this airbrush cleaner, this stuff is cheap. You get it on Amazon. It is fantastic for resurrecting. Acrylics will dry out on you, especially, man, if you've ever owned a Citadel paint, you know that you go back after you buy that thing brand new and it's so silky smooth, and you're like, God, I can't wait to get this on a and then you go and you open it 2 hours later and that thing's rock hard. Oh, everybody who has ever painted Warhammer 40K and knows what I'm talking about. This stuff right here, unless that acrylic is just turned to rock, this stuff will bring it back. Just don't overdo it. Just a little bit. Put it in there. I got one right here. It was okay. Hopefully I just said what I thought I said. And that's what I'm talking about. So let's not do any more of those tonight. So I've got this one here, some of this Baines Blade Brown, and it was kind of chunky. But I think I have gotten it back. Q-tips. That's another thing. And I'll show you a few tricks with those. Always have a little. So about 3 or 4 hours ago, I added, usually that's probably not enough time to bring back. You can kind of see it's a little chunky. If I leave that, I'll probably add just a little bit more. I doubt this will be useful tonight, but by tomorrow, I'll be able to get a really good stir with that and bring it back. Like I said, you can get this, and if you use an airbrush, it's not bad. The other thing, as I was starting, going back for full circle, when you have your rinse cup, add just a couple drops of this. Now, if you don't have this, add a couple drops of rubbing alcohol. You don't need much, maybe a 71%, something like that. But what that does is it'll help. You can also do just a touch of soap. And when I say a touch of soap, like just lick the, around where the pump is, get a little bit on your finger, rub it off on into the water. It breaks the water tension, and it does help get your brushes cleaner. The other thing that you can get, and it's actually something that I should get out now, and I don't know where it is. Well, shit. I have a brush cleaner, and it's a little soap that comes in a container, and I thought I had some right here. And I do. This right here. Masters brush cleaner. You can pick this up. You can steal some from buy some from Hobby Lobby. It's just a little soap. Helps clean your brushes because brushes ain't cheap, especially the shit that I use. This stuff is worth every penny. Okay, the other things that we have. Tamiya. I've got some weathering masters. This stuff is basically like makeup. Uh, it's just gives you a little extra detail and stuff like that. I'll probably use this stuff a lot more on the Action Force figure that we're going to play with. I use these a lot for vehicles, especially when I was doing a lot of the Warhammer stuff. It was really, really handy for doing dirt, making it look like it so that was rock hard. Regular paper towel. One, you want this for drying off your brush after you wash it. The other thing you want this is for dry brushing. And after that, what you need is brushes. Now, as Mr. LaserPants himself will tell you, he is very much a fan of makeup brushes. They're really good. I absolutely agree with them. I think every brush has its place. But it depends on what you're doing. If you're looking for, like, if I was taking this figure and I just wanted to kind of highlight all the little things like the mollies or the folds and the all the little details, you could take a little bit of dust like this. Hell, you could actually use shit go steal your mom's makeup, um especially if they got any of that heroin chic black or anything like that. You can use actual makeup, and then afterwards you give it a little spray with some anti-shine, some matte varnish finish. It works just as good as anything you're going to get from um, Tamiya. I think the only difference is going to be, it's kind of, I've seen people paint amazing things miniature wise with the cheap apple barrel acrylics that you get at Walmart. Um, and then you've got something that's, some of these are $5 a fucking bottle. So, and I've got some acrylic paints that are higher dollar than that. You start getting into like some of the P3 and different formula, different paints like that. You can, I've seen people get custom made acrylics that a bottle like this will run you $30. So it all depends on the level. Paint with the level you have. If all you can afford is the apple barrel stuff, use a wet palette. This right here will take the cheapest, shittiest acrylic paint and change it completely. I cannot stress it enough. If you're painting with acrylic by hand, now listen, I'm not getting into some of those guys who JMK Customs YouTube channel. He does a lot of action figure stuff. He uses a lot of airbrushing. He is amazing at it. I don't know how to air. The only thing I know how to do with air is talk a lot of hot of it. A lot of Airbrushing's never been my bag. I remember my grandfather, he was like, I used to paint windows, um, professional sign painting. My grandfather was like, well, we should get you an airbrush. You'll be able to do them faster. And I think he spent probably $500-600, got me a really nice, posh system, back when posh meant something, and really nice compressor, everything you needed, some good paints. And 5 minutes into it, I was like, this shit ain't for me. That has changed a lot. Now you've got some of those airbrushes that you can get on Amazon right now for $35. It's all in your hand. If you want to try it, give it a go. Some of these paints are great. Just use a dropper and give it a try. But for me, the majority of what I do is dry brushing. But before we dry brush, we're going to use a number 3 round, and we are going to block in the colors. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is those pretty husky eyes that my wife keeps telling me that she wishes were on me. So screw you, Ryan. These are water transfers. I'm not going to be using these particular ones tonight because they belong to a miniature, a couple of anime figures that my daughter's working on, and I'm fairly certain that I'm fairly certain that she'd end me in my sleep if I use them. But I wanted to show them, and at some point, and I've got a good technique for eyes that is super simple, that I don't care who you are, you can do it. So, Talib, these really cool. They sell a lot of different sets on Amazon. There's a couple other places that do water transfers. If you guys want to see some water transfer stuff, man, I can show you Microsol, SOL, 2 little bottles, and it takes the most incompetent water transfer person and makes them a master. So I thought about, and I don't know, and when my daughter gets home, if she says I can play with those, maybe we'll try sticking them on. But for right now, let's decorate the war trophy. Now, something that I really want to do, let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit here. There we go. Let's see just how big we can get that. Look, it's almost life size. All right. Now, LaserPants didn't tell me who sculpted this for him. And if you guys know, please, somebody let me know. I don't have any mods. Mr. Nico, making me drool with that Mark II design. Okay, yeah. So Mark II design did these heads for LaserPants. He did a fantastic job. But I want to do just a little bit more with them. So something that I've got here, this is just a little sander. Now, what I'd initially thought I was going to do, because I wanted the beard to be just a little more beardy, but now that I've got the primer on, and that's where a lot of people make mistakes with miniatures, is they either don't prime them or they start making decisions about what they want to do before the primer. Now, when I first got this, looking at it, had a lot of shiny bits. So I was actually going to take some green stuff, and this is sculpting material, cut off a little bit. You squish it together, and it turns rock hard in a few minutes, like JB Weld, but for miniatures. Um, I was actually going to put a whole new beard on here, but looking at it too, and looking at the good job that Mark II, again, that's Mark II Designs, and hit him up. Uh, I don't think I'm going to actually do that. I think I'm going to kind of just leave it the way it is. But there's a couple things. And again, this is where reference comes in handy. This is why stalking, getting reference is good. So I like this, but I want that part to be just a little deeper, and I want the beard to be just a little rougher around the edges. Now, not enough to where we're going to get bits flying off and things like that, but I definitely want to just going to bring that part in just a little bit more. And you can also see I've got a little chunky bit right here. I don't like that, so we're going to sand that just a little bit. And I want to get a few. The hair's really smooth, and that's fine, but that doesn't bring out a lot of details when you're doing dry brushing. And you don't need much. That's the other thing too. A lot of people are, when they're working on miniatures, they think that they've just got to really get deep with some of these miniatures. Oh, and by the way, this stand, this is, and I know they are not a super popular company right now, but these are the NECA headstands, and I love them. They're really good. Multiple tips on them, and you can just pop that right off when you need to and set it over. I just wrapped a little bit of blue tape around it so I don't get a bunch of paint all over it. So we're going to take off some of these edges around this beard here. And I may actually... Well, I am loving the chat tonight. We got Talib, we got Necatronis, we got J-Mac, Figure Fight Club. Woo, god damn. Y'all know how to make a girl feel special. So if you use a razor blade, don't try to whittle and chit on it. Just use the side of it and give it a little scrape. That will help just take off any of the little rough edges that you got. Now, I definitely want to... I just told you, don't do this, kids. And then what is he doing? What I need is a triangular file. All right. Y'all wait right here. I'm going to be right back. Let LaserPants keep... Just look at them beautiful eyes. Y'all miss me? Okay. So what we got here, just a little file set. And I'm going to go with this square one because I want to just get a couple sharp corners. I'm just going to kind of run it along the bottom. Because even though Mr. LaserPants keeps a very well manicured beard, we just want to rough it up just a little bit. On camera, of course. We're just using the corner. And I'm not super worried about losing my primer on the hair because the browns that I'm going to be using are more than enough to take care of that. But on the flesh, I definitely want to keep my green. And I'll tell you, Mark II Designs did a fantastic job with this head sculpt because I will tell you, I have spent weeks on some figures just getting them ready to paint. And I got to tell you, I'm not against 3D printing. I see some beautiful stuff. Take Necatronus. He has the ability when he does his 3D printing that it's it doesn't look 3D printed, which should be the objective of 3D and resin printing, that it looks like it wasn't 3D printed. If you can look at something and be like, yeah, that's some 3D printed shit, then that it's not that I don't like it. I have mad respect for it because it is outside of my ability, most certainly. But there are, I don't even know. Help me, Necatronus. I'm falling here. I'm trying to dig a hole. Help me out. I've watched it. Yes. Thank you, Mikey. The technology that I watched with just watching all the lines and everything, and just watch it, just how shitty 3D printing was. I mean, now you're up to 8K and 16. Shit, I think they got what, 24K printing. Some of the resin printers, you look at that and you swear that was injected molded, and it's 3D printed. And I've seen some amazing things. I've seen some amazing things sitting on JK Customs desk. The stuff that they're doing is really cool. Everybody should go check it out. Necatronus as well. Um, but it's just, I don't know, that maybe in my head I'm so used to, you know what, I shouldn't say shit, because I've for years painted Forge World stuff out of the UK. And you want to talk about resin molding and just some of the stuff that you would have to rebuild because you got towards the last of the mold, and different things like that. Some of the lead and pewter miniatures I've painted over the years. And in fact, just here, let me. Oh, where's my babies? Yeah, you should be more prepared, Max, so you don't have to keep going off screen. So we have a local club here in town. This is one of my pride and joys. This is a very hard to get award in the state of Louisiana. This is the Red River Modeling Club, and I won it for this Battletech piece. Now, this is not new Battletech. This is, God, I think a 1986 lead miniature. That was a good time. If you're more into the 40K stuff, there's you, dead Smurf. So, but everything, it's, you get into some of the stuff that everything's changing. There's going to come a time, probably within, if not within my lifetime, at least one of you younger gentlemen's lifetimes, uh, where when you order something from Games Workshop, they send you they send something straight to your 3D printer. Uh, I would love within my lifetime to step up and order an Earl Grey hot. Uh, sorry, I have a frozen shoulder, so physical therapy next week. So, yay! What else is the matter with you, Max? Tell us more. So that I really believe that. I think within some of our lifetimes we are going to most definitely going to get into um, where you just order something and it just 3D prints. Hopefully it won't smell as bad. My daughter's got a computer coming that is going to be able to operate Blender fairly efficiently. So we will see how that goes. She is very much all this stuff that I'm using tonight, the Citadel miniatures, the paint brushes, the wet palette, that is all stuff that I gave her like 4 or 5 years ago. Is just like, you know what? I'm not painting as much anymore here. Just go ahead. And man, as if to just kick an old man in his nads, she's better at it than I ever was, the little shit. She could at least like show me some shitty stuff and be like, oh, well, here, I tried to do this, Dad. No, not. First thing she showed me was, check this out and suck it, old man. Yeah. She's a good kid. Well, I want to, speaking of good kids, man, I'm keeping your dad, Mikey. Dude is awesome. Okay, let me get some you. All right. I I really like looking at this before I primed it. I really thought I was going to have to do a lot more to this piece. That I was really fooled. But well, as soon as they can figure out a way, uh as soon as they can figure out a way to do it without you keeping that file and mass producing it yourself, they'd already done it. If they could figure out a way to do a single download, they'd already be doing it. If I could just get your dad to tell me he's proud of me, I'd Your dad's just cool, man. I that's you two's relationship is fantastic, and I'm not gonna lie, I am very envious of that. So that you guys keep it up. You're doing great work. Then anybody, it's I had to explain. You got to. I'm more of the English major of the house, though my daughter is excelling at it. So I had to explain for anybody watching. JK Customs has his own channel, JK Customs, and he also does a show here on YouTube with his father called Couple of Kooks. I believe isn't it the name of y'all's printing company too? I think so. Check the comments. But I had to explain what uh the U with the line over the top of it. Hey, that's it. You got it, J Mac. That's all right. Let's get a little bit of paint blocked on this guy, because the sooner we get some paint on him, the sooner. Now, I don't like to soak my brushes like I just fucking did. Um, oh, well, here. You know what? Hey, Max, didn't you say something about a wet palette? What happened to that? Oh yeah. Well, that's over here and it's ready. So, I'm going to take just a little bit of that. I'm going to go ahead and put that there, and then I can close that lid. Now, see that right there, instead of working on now, when I first started painting miniatures, um, I, um, I used to just get disposable plates, and they're great because, fuck trees. But, I live in Louisiana, support the lumber industry. My wife, the environmental scientist, should not hear me say this. Anyway, when you're working with a wet palette, you don't have to worry about the paint that you're using drying out. So now I am not worried about details right now. I'm just worried about getting the coat on them. And again, I got reference. So I know that, that chin goes a little bit lower. So now you can, and a lot of people will be like, why don't you use an airbrush for that? Well, one, as I have previously stated, Max sucks at airbrushing. I know how to wet a palette. Airbrushing is fine, and you will never hear me. I do not in the least want to come off sounding like I'm sure most of my attitude towards airbrushing comes from the fact that I don't know, nor am I good at using them. But where you have lacking, you can excel. And the thing that I have gotten really good at is trying to get, I wanted my stuff to look airbrushed without airbrushing it. Now, given how airbrushing has advanced, I most definitely should pick up an airbrush, especially when it comes to blocking in colors. It's quick, it dries really fast, and it looks really good if it's done right. If Mikey's doing it. If I'm doing it, I don't know. But one thing that airbrushing does not always, and I'm saying not always, give you is the ability to do a little bit of blending out the gate. Now, we can see his face, some of the tones that we're going to be looking at. Now, most of the time, yeah, I agree with you, Mikey. That I love. Listen, there's a website called Cool Mini or Not, and if you ever want to feel bad about how your art skills are with painting miniatures, spend 5 minutes on that page, and you will just throw your fucking brushes away. Yeah, but mica powder. That's all that's all these are. It You can use. I've known a few modelers that was their secret for years, was that they used their mom's Mary Kay. Um, Everybody was like, how do you get those smooth, those little glitters and everything? Well, let me tell you. Okay, now I want to get. Just a little bit of this wash down here. Now, at this point, I myself personally am not looking for detail or coverage. Just getting some of my first blends in there. And the biggest pain in the ass about doing this, especially doing this on camera, is again, as I've said once before, tonight is going to be a whole lot of watching the fucking paint dry. See, everybody's like, man, I'm watching Mikey and I don't understand. He's got these things. He just painted them, and then he's going and doing two other things, and then I got to wait till the next episode before he goes back to them. That's because that fucking paint's got to dry. Watercolors is my jam, Mikey. That is most definitely, that's where I did a lot of my college master training, was watercolor painting. Um, I worked with um, an artist out of Plano, Texas, named Danny Gamble, and I've got a couple pieces of his watercolor painting. He did the most amazing clouds. I mean, I'm talking like Remington level clouds, and There we go. All right, let that dry for a minute. Well, listen, another set, some of the acrylics that I have too is if you're looking into acrylic or doing watercolors with acrylic, or even working with some of the stuff that you do, Mikey, I cannot recommend Waverly Color Company enough. When I mean every color you could possibly want with a proper dripper. This stuff right here, it works great in an airbrush. It works great in almost any setting you could think of. Whether you use brush, whether you use airbrush, wet palette. Fact is, I need a little bit of brown. Let's do here we go. Let's try some Adobe for. Let's knock my water bottle over. And this stuff, when it dries, it is phenomenal. And I mean, it is. Look at that. Look at that fucking coverage. That is a friend of mine out of Baltimore. So you were. Anybody can order it. Now, his tattoo pigments, he also sells those. But you have to be a tattooer to get that stuff. But anybody can order the watercolor acrylics. God, I love those Waverleys. At a full set will probably run you a full set of Waverly will run you about $125. You get a pretty good array of stuff, and it is. Definitely worth picking up, and it is probably some of I do if you're on my Facebook page or my Instagram, almost anything you see that's large scale watercolor or anything like that it's either my Hayao Miyazaki palette or my Waverly. Oh, I cannot wait to break out my Hayao Miyazaki palette on this channel. I have, and it took me over a year and about $400, but I recreated Hayao Miyazaki's original watercolor palette down to the original pencil, the brush, all the original Holbein colors, his original handheld palette, and 2 or 3 colors that haven't been produced. Oh, geez Louise. This damn camera. Come on. Keep going. My webcam is controlled by hand motions. And you know what Max really loves to do with his hands? Just move them all over the fucking place. So, all right. Got to make sure we get those rosy Woodford Reserve cheeks. That's one thing, like going back to talking about the airbrushes, you know, I wish I could zoom in some more for y'all. Doing the layers that I like to do with acrylic is something that you can't always get. And again, I'm saying you can't always, and you know, I most definitely can't, is just some of the layering that you can do. You know what? I don't think anybody really cares about seeing my face. So let's just get to the meat of the matter, boys. Just do a little bit, let it dry, and then do a little bit more. But if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. Absolutely. I love working with it. I typically try to do a little bit thinner watercolors, but I've also, before I was really into watercolors, I was into acrylic painting. I actually have the first miniature set that I ever got, and it was a dear gods, no wonder I have fucking epilepsy. It was the Indiana Jones TSR set, 100% lead. 100%. And had some of the, it had uh, from the role playing game, it definitely had a lot of the um, it had Temple of Doom, and I think it had some of the Raiders of the Lost Ark stuff in there too. And when I first started painting uh, lead and pewter miniatures, it was with testers. Basically, it was fucking car paint. I'm sure it was lead based too. Uh, and that stuff was so thick. It was just a mess. No, I left his body behind. It was just too, it's just dead weight. This head fits on all Valaverse. All right, here's what we need. Now his beard doesn't go all the way up to the top, so he was nice enough to send this to me, and we never really talked about if it was for keeps. I had kind of insinuated that once I was done with it, I would send it back to him. I don't know if that's what he wants or. But I've got plenty of Valaverse stuff that I have plenty of Valaverse stuff that it'll fit on. Now, again, when I'm first starting to do this, I know it looks like his hair's red. That's a little bit of red in that, but we're going to darken that up and gray it out just a little bit for too long. Again, at this point, I'm just blocking in colors, not worried about Samuel L. Bronkowitz presents a Mike Honcho production. She was a college girl, alone and afraid. He was a toy collector who liked to talk about shit on Saturdays. All right. So we're getting. Looks like a little fucking leprechaun right now, doesn't he? Now, I had even considered doing some serious customization on this and putting in some Johnny Mnemonic cybernetic implants. I've also got these tentacle makers from a company called Green Stuff makes them, and there's these little ribs in here, and you put a little bead of green stuff, and you roll this back and forth, and it makes hoses and tubes and things like that. And I've got a couple different ones that do different things. You can even kind of mix and match on them sometimes. These are the thin ones. This one's, I don't know if you can see that really well. Let's see if I can get it in the light. They make some really neat hoses. I thought about even doing kind of a, the 3POA with the tentacles coming out the bottom and everything with the head and all that, but we'll just kind of see how everything plays out. Oh. Now, this stuff here, this Masters that I was talking about, so what you do with it is take your brush, clean it just a little bit with that, run it through your water, dry it off, and then take just a little bit of that stuff and put just a little bit of it on your tip, and then that helps preserve the tip of your brush. And seeing how I think, I don't know this particular maker. I don't know if this is one of the. I think this is about a $30 brush, so it's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. And if you've ever bought Citadel brushes, speaking of which, this is the dry brush. It's the smaller one. It's not too bad, but we're gonna take. See, I got them a little dark in there, and I want to kind of lighten that up. I'm not sure if I need to. See, the problem with dwarf flesh is it always comes off kind of shiny. So let's see. Oh, that's a brand new bottle. God damn. I put a lot on my dry brush. Now, it doesn't ever look like you're putting anything on there, but I promise you're putting more than you think. And if you're not, just give it a little dab. Yeah, see, that's too much. Dry brushing is something that you want to kind of practice before you just go throwing the shit on there, because it'll get you. You're thinking, oh, there's not much on that. I can, you see, we got that line right there. We want that line to get it, to disappear, because Ryan would not be caught dead without a sweet fade. So we got to work that line. Oh, you can see what I'm doing good? All right, cool. All right. Old brushes are the shit for this. I love. You get a brush that's just finally like one of these that's just seen better days, and it's so crapped up with 20 years. So some of them little Walmart brushes don't matter, and they cut those tips off. And they make great dry brushes. Citadel produces these dry pigments. I don't think they're all that necessary. They're Some people make them work, but you could definitely do without them if you just take your time. Um, and this won't be the last time that I dry brush on this guy. Because again, you see, I'm getting up in that hairline more than I want. I'm getting down in the beard more than I want, but I'm also setting the parameters, and I'm starting to get. There we go. See, that's starting to get. See, it's only taken me an hour and 10 minutes to get to what Mikey can do in 5 with a fucking airbrush. But that's not what this is about. This is for people who just, airbrushes are scary. Technology is bad. I don't want to come out of my cave. Yeah, listen, yeah, that is absolutely and 100% my point. There is nothing fancy about this. Anybody can do it. It's just something, and you can't screw it up, because if it doesn't look good, it's just acrylic paint. A little bit of rubbing alcohol, it comes off. A little bit of water, you can manipulate it. Do not stick your dry brush in water. All right. So we got that. Now something that I would typically do around this time before I start getting into really working, like into the head, and some of the 90% of this head sculpt is flesh tone. The beard, the mustache, the eyes, all that's just kind of secondary details. So something that I would typically do around now is add what they call an ard coat, or I would even take it out and do an anti-shine. Just give kind of a coat over it. It makes sometimes it helps in working details, and it doesn't screw up what you've done underneath it. So, but what I am going to do right now is I want to do some flesh shade. And what this is called a wash. And washes are super pain in the ass. Now, I use this as a wash brush, but you also, and you can tell, it has seen some love. Just take a little bit. I usually want to just wet the tip of your brush down, because I don't want too much. Now, these little Citadel pots have this little piece right here, and it is perfect for kind of taking some of the excess stuff off your brush. Sometimes with a wash, I just want to throw that shit on there and go crazy. Just saturate it. And I am going to kind of do that with this, I guess. You're like, God damn, you just finished doing all that shit. What are you doing? Trust me, washes are your friend. Don't be afraid of the wash. The only thing that you should be afraid of when you're doing a wash, and see, we got it on there. It's like a mess. But now I can go in, and I want to just kind of manipulate that wash into a few spots where it just kind of gets the fuck out of my way. I want to keep it in the shadows. Not too much in there, so just kind of Q-tip it up. And I want a little bit more in that eye socket. And I should use the sharper wash brush. That was a lesson learned hard the first time I ever really got into using washes. Was I did not know the golden rule, which is let that damn wash dry. But before you let it dry, like I said, just go in and just kind of manipulate it a little bit. And it will calm down considerably by the time it dries. So we're just going to let that sit for a little bit. And don't forget, when you're not using it, put a little lid over the top of your wet palette. It's really good about not drying out, but it'll still dry out. Yeah, Ard Coat is a fantastic gloss. I like using it for putting a little touch over the eyes after do a little work there. Speaking of eyes, these little things right here, these are Copic multi-liners. This one you've got, this one I think is a brush stroke. It's got, it's like a little brush. Really fantastic. These things are ultra permanent, alcohol based. The 0.7 liner, these are fantastic for doing small details, like eyes, adding little, any place where you need black. I've even got a 0.05 liner that I use for paneling Gundams. So if anybody's ever paneled a damn Gundam, and that thing just hairline. And it perfect for doing little details. I mean, that being said, there is this is called the Psycho, and geez Louise, it earned that name. That is a little bitty brush. Go through quite a few of those. Yeah, micron pens are okay. The problem that I have with microns is I have a little problem with consistency of their pigment. Um, it's okay for general use, and it's definitely a lot more correctable than the Copic multi-liner. If you use Copic and it doesn't work, you're painting over that damn thing. No ifs, ands, or buts. With a multi-liner, you can sometimes take some rubbing alcohol, clear it out, and not be totally foobarred. But Copic is forever, man. I've got $1,000 worth of alcohol-based pens. I've done quite a bit of artwork with it. I'm very happy, and they work really well for doing a lot of final touches on miniatures as well. I love you can, yeah, just uke it, man. I love uking that stuff. It's great. I love using alcohol-based pigment. Love it. If I couldn't watercolor anymore, alcohol based would be where I threw all my dice. Especially with a Copic, they're self blending. They dry instantly. Um, they're just really, and you can refill them. I mean, holy crap! I've got like every pen I have a huge bottle of refill. So I never need to throw them away. Same things. It's the reason I like these multi-liners. That's a microns. Once they dry out, that's it, done. These, refill the ink cartridge. I've got boxes of extra nibs. God, I bet that pen case right there is guys, probably 15 years old. I just refill it when I need it. Same way with my colored pens. It's an investment. That is a fact. But now y'all don't tell LaserPants I'm over here blowing on his head. Do I ever have issues losing pigment when you dab your dry brush on paper towels? Well, yeah, that's kind of the reason. That's actually what I want to happen. When I'm dry brushing is something that you don't want to, if you've got a saturated brush, then you're not dry brushing. You want just enough to where, yes, but that's what you want. You want a powder residue. That is basically the technique of dry brushing, is you are just doing the closest thing I can really give you an analogy of, like when women do makeup, they're doing just a little bit at a time. They take a dab and then they work that around, and that's, it's the same thing. I'm taking um the Citadel Dry. This is like it's like a spongy material in there. So when I dab on this, oh, I am not dry on that. Okay, so I've got a clean, dry brush. Now I'm dabbing it in here, and I don't know if you can really see, but that is not liquidy pigment. So you see, it's just kind of leaving a little goop on the end of that. Now, if I hit that, that is going straight on to what I'm working on. That's going to leave a goop. So you just want to see how thick that is when I'm dabbing it. That's too much pigment. So you want to get to where, there we go. See how it's just like that. Now I know if I go hitting that, that is going to, it's not going to sink into the deep cuts. It's just it's gonna work over the top. Here, it's like right there. So there's some ridges right there. Now I can take this and I'm going right over the top, and it's not getting deep into that. It's just bouncing off the edges where it's cutting that. The best thing to, if you're really wanting to get into and get really good at dry brushing, get a metal paint like what is it? It's one of the iron paints. Um, use paper towel, and the reason I like Bounty is just the texture, and it's what I'm used to. I've seen people also use it on just regular typing paper. But I know when I go from this to this, that's going to leave the amount of dusting on that figure. It's gonna just because I want to do that layer. I want it light. I want it almost highlighting. And again, a great way to learn dry brushing is doing metal highlights. Um, get a gray or a black, do a little bit, hit a, you know, Valiverse sells some great weapons packs. Pick up a couple of them and add some metal highlights. It, you could go in everywhere where there's metal. You could go in and just practice, and you just want to kind of just bounce it off the edge. It's just something that takes a little bit. There's a lot of people who can explain it a lot better than I can. But um, but I hope that helps with your question. But yeah, but having a powder residue is um kind of what you want to happen with. Okay, still waiting on that face to dry. So while we're doing that, we can work on some of the brown. I want to kind of dry brush this too, but I also don't want to saturate a dry brush, so I'm going to skip the wet palette, put a little brown smear. Right on there. Just dab that a little bit. Hey, anytime, Dennis. I'm always I don't have any. I've been doing this shit too long to keep secrets. I don't. And I'm also somebody that if I don't know, I'm happy to point you out. Listen, check out JMK Customs. Uh, just watch some of his painting techniques. If there's something that I'm doing and you still don't get it, watch him a little bit. He's a cool cat. Um, listen, I my first miniature set was an Indiana Jones lead set. It's still in the other room. If my kid comes home and she knows where it's at, I'll have her grab it. But um, I have been. I was one of those sickly kids. Um, so I have been painting miniatures for shit probably most of my life. I think I haven't painted anything in a while with miniatures. Um, I painted about a 5,000 point Elysian drop force Forge World army, and it broke my fucking mind. And I gave all my paints to my kid and focused on not doing this. But I've been really wanting to. I felt kind of bad. Um, I did some thank you art for a lot of the people associated with the 3POA podcast. I did some artwork for Michael French. I did some artwork for It's Chad. Um, Shout out to all these guys. I did some artwork for Articulated Ninja, did some artwork for Bobby Vala from Valaverse. And then I did one that was just kind of a general thank you to 3POA. And I always kind of felt a little bad because I never just really did, I when I did that little 3POA one, it was just kind of a hey, it's the 3POA. But I never really just called out to just Ryan, to LaserPants. Um who is the father figure that holds us all together and keeps us all from murdering each other. Um, or else he's planning on getting us all into an arena. So I really wanted to do something for him that wasn't just a whatever. So me doing this is just kind of my thank you to Laser Pants for just being a cool motherfucker. Yeah. We all owe that man a thank you. I don't think half of our channels would be what they are if it weren't for him just picking up his peers and saying, "Hey, this guy's cool. Everybody, he's coming on the show. He's awesome. Check him out." And yeah, we all owe that man a thank you. Mostly I owe him a thank you because I was stuck on a couch for 2 years. And if it weren't for Wednesdays and Saturday nights with him, Bobby, and Tony, I am fairly certain this would be a different conversation. And it would be a whole lot of. No, I'm not good people. I'm the fucking worst, man. This, eh. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. I started with minute. Listen, go pick you up some. Uh, get on eBay, pick you up some cheap used Warhammer 40K minis, and get good, son. You can do it. All right. Now we're gonna. This face is really dark, so now we're getting, and there's still a little bit of that wash in there, and I definitely don't want to hit it, or it's gonna make a mess. Because what did I tell you, boys and girls? Let your wash dry. But does Max listen? No, Max didn't have to listen. He's one of those do as I say, not as I do kind of guys, ain't you, Max? See, that's the one thing I don't like about this Citadel dry stuff is either it's inconsistent. Either it's stupid wet or it's stupid dry. And you don't know what you're going to get. Work on camera, Max. Sorry, guys. All right. Now I'm really focusing right in here. And I want to start working a lot more on my highlights. I've got my shadows, I've got my textures. So now I need to, work on those little, yeah. Yeah, Citadel paints are like a box of chocolates. They're all those what is it, the sampler packs that only 2 of them are edible and the rest are shit. I think I've got the fade working pretty good there. No lines. There we go. Oh, he looks like a pouty Ryan. I'm gonna have to fix that. Poor Ryan. Got bags under his eyes. Holes in his. Oh, where's my magnifying glass? What? Oh, there it is. Oh. Well, shit, there are holes up there. Well, that would have been nice to see before we got this far. All right. Well, looks like we got just a hair of a problem. So, right here is a little bit of a hole. It looks like I can't tell. I'm just trying to smooth it out right there. Looks like I got just a little bit of a cavity right around the eye. And it wasn't visible until now. So I'm going to just kind of yeah, well, I don't know that I can't really call this a printing misperfection as much as it's just a spot where that wash really likes to accumulate, and I don't want it to accumulate that much in that spot. So I think what I need to do is get out one of my small brushes. And Let's see. I ought to give him some purple eyeshadow. I'd never hear the end of it. There we go. I guess I can just thin down a little bit of that red. Now, these P3 paints, I hate their lids. More times than I really want to admit, I have popped open one of these things only to have pigment just fly everywhere. And it is infuriating. Especially when it always seems to find its way onto whatever you're painting at the moment. All right. Now I want just kind of a little red wash. And I'm just using just base red, which is really thick paint for trying to do what I'm about to do. But I really want to get just a little bit of pink on the eyes, above the eyes. And I'm going to tone it down a lot. So this is just kind of an undercoat that we're doing, giving them some Conan murder eyes. And we want to kind of hit that lip just a little bit. And I'm not, again, super worried about detail right now. Need a little red on those cheeks. There we go. Yeah, he's ready for the club now. All right, so we're just going to wash that just a little bit. And then back to our dry brush, which is dry. And I am just about, this is probably going to be the end of the flesh tones. That I really, that's too much. Come on. There we go. See, we got red right there. Try it. Let's show it here. We just want to, you want just a hint of that. So see, you can still see just a little bit of that pink, that red, even though dry brushing over it. So you just, And that's it. Well, I hope you have a great date, boss. And this is available for replay. I leave it up. So there we have. It sucks because I can't raise this fucking arm. And I'm a little nervous to bring my overhead camera down. There we go. All right, so that's where we're at. So we've got basically the flesh done. Now we're going to get the beard finished and the hair done, and then that sweet mustache. Thank you, J Mac. It is starting to look like something. All right. I had that is a metallic color. I don't even know why that's on my fucking desk. Put a little bit. This is a sepia wash. This is fantastic. If you ever have a skeleton or any kind of bone that you want to look more bone, this is your shit right here. You hear me, J Mac? This is your shit. It is also really good for LaserPants beards. And I'm going to put a little bit up on top too, just because I can. Yeah. Now let's do something. Oh, get over there. I'm not ready for you to do that. Let's do something with that mustache. I think it's time. What do we want? All right. Wet palette to the rescue. Now, see, again, I cannot stress how fantastic a wet palette is, because you can take a dry brush and go straight to that wet palette. And it's ready to go. I don't like that mustache at all. I don't like it at all. So let's take a little Q-tip. That looks a lot better. Yeah. I'll tell you what, painting on camera is something else. That is absolutely a first for me. There we go. All right. Now I think I've definitely got the colors I want to go for here. All right. Where'd that brown go? Do not dip your dry brush onto your wet palette. You're welcome. Where did that fucking brown just go? I just had it. Oh. I got a little bit of darkness on this side of the nose that I need to kind of clear up. But other than that, I am. Yeah, I got to get those nostrils kind of. I need a smaller dry brush to really get in there. Let's see what I got. There we go. I thought I had some white out here. Yeah, that'll work. those cheekbones right there. All right. See, now I'm getting into what I really like, highlight. Right. One thing to keep in mind too when you're painting these, it's okay to go just a little bit lighter in some spots. And I'll tell you why. Because when you go to put that sealer on, it is almost always going to darken it up a little bit. All right. We're going to let that dry for a few minutes. What's going on, chat? Anybody still watching? Oh, 2 hours. No wonder everybody went home. Make sure if you're watching this. I will never ask for it, but if you are so willing, liking and subscribing is always a good thing and a good way to show your support. So if you what's that anyway, do it if you want. If you don't, that's fine too. Oh, I gotta stretch a little bit. If anybody knows any cures for frozen shoulders, I am certainly listening. All right. Nolan oil. I'm going to do a little bit of this because I want to darken up that beard just a little bit. This is basically Citadel's black wash. And I want to be careful where I put this because I don't want it on the flesh tone. Just want it in the beard. And maybe a little bit in the part. Just oh yeah, I've got a camera. I'm sorry. Yeah, that darkens up. That'll darken up that beard nice. Then I think we've got, once that wash dries, we've got one more little dry brush to do. On the hair. I'll smooth that out just a little bit. It's a great thing about Q-tips. You can just actually, I think that may have done everything I really wanted to happen with that beard. Maybe I'll move some of this. You know, that's the great thing about washes. It's you don't want to try to paint over them while they're wet, but while they're wet, you can move them around, either with a Q-tip, as I'm doing, because I want to remove some of it, or with a paintbrush, because you want to move it towards one area instead of just have it going all to one. I am I'm getting pretty happy with this. Like I said, we're going to give it a few minutes. Oh. You want to let that, I'm going to get that wash dry, and then we're going to do one more little dry brush along the beard, and dot the I's and call it a day. Now, this is the thing about LaserPants. LaserPants has bright blue eyes. So I can either paint those, you take a chance, you do a little white, do a little dot of blue, and you do a little dot of black. Well, that's some very minuscule work. Do not feel bad if it is not your cup of tea. Just take a marker and put a black dot there with a little. Listen, if you ever want to know how to do an eye, look at the old 1983 GI Joes. They are a little spot, a little bit like this with a dot like that. If you can do that, you got eyes. That's all you need. That's all you need. You want them looking up, do the line underneath, turn it upside down. They're looking up. Or just do a dot. I have seen, I used to go to, these are forever gone. The old RPGA, Role Playing Game Association. I don't know if they still do anything, but they used to have a lot of shows in Phoenix, Arizona, and went to a couple, took a couple awards home for some miniatures, and no heavy metal or anything like that, but respect amongst my peers, and got to watch. I met Gary Gygax at one of them. He was an absolute dick. Love him, mad respect for him. Will fight you over him, but he was something. He had a bad. Everybody has bad days, and that was definitely a bad day for Gary Gygax. In fact, I think about a week after that, his new role playing game had just. I mean, nobody was playing it. Way too complicated. But so that might have been something. I don't know. But watched a guy painting a miniature and was doing a live painting. Beautiful piece. It was like a winter troll or something like that. Some Larry Elmore piece. I think I did one myself. Massive model. And off to the side is a little bitty cleric trying to heal a beat to death or dwarf. And he went to put those little bitty dots in that little sweet little caked out cleric's eyes, and next thing you knew, that whole pound or 2.5 pounds of miniature was just flying across the Coliseum floor. I've watched people try to do Warhammer miniatures, and just always the eyes. Do what you can. Don't, and seriously, eyes are easy. Do them first. If I'd been smart, I would have went ahead and done a couple drops of, a couple licks of white in these eyes, and then I could have worked all my flesh tones around it and everything like that. And even if I got some flesh tone over that white, I still would have known where the area was that I need to hit again. It's a lot easier to do a little touch up than it is to try to, do it right out the damn gate. Sometimes. But we can give her a go, see what happens. Worst case scenario, if I screw it up, it means I just gotta go back and do a little bit more flesh tone. And oh shit, yeah, this is live, so everybody can see how bad I am. All right. That's if I can even see. Look at that. What are you doing? You just got it, Max. Why are you taking it out? Now look at that. It always feels like somebody's watching me. Ain't got no privacy. It's what happens when you get old and you can't see what the hell you're doing anymore. I think I am going to yeah. And we're definitely gonna have to touch it up with a little bit of flesh. I am definitely in trouble now. The owner of all these paints just walked in the door.
As long as you're keeping the pots closed.
Yeah, some of them. All right, let's get a little dry brush on the beard and the hair, and then we're good to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. I'm going to do a little mixing. Get a little light brown here. All right. Hey, little sexy assistant, do you have any matte? You got a matte coat. I got the shiny one. Have you got the matte one? Isn't it in? Is it in there?
That should be offspring assistant.
Offspring assistant. Thank you. Somebody thinks she's sexy. Oh, yeah, that's weird.
You're weird. It's official.
Yeah, that one. What's that one? Yeah, that's it. Oh, all right. I'll just seal it. I'm done. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
You're just gonna have to hit it with a spray paint.
Yep. That's it. The head of LaserPants. I used to be able to knock out a piece like this in about an hour. So that definitely shows my slowing down in my old age.
Blood splatter.
Oh, yeah. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do this as a bloody variant. I will most definitely uh, be glad to oblige. I don't know why that just will not stay there. So I want to thank everybody who stayed till the end. If you're on your way out, please hit that like button, and please tune in to all the fine folk who joined us tonight. Talib on Instagram, JMac, 3POA podcast, LaserPants _ JMK Customs, everybody who I hang out with good people, so be one of them. Again, let me know. I will be watching the comments, and we will see if you guys want to do a bloody variant. In the meantime, as I like to finish every show with Collins Gym Dictionary of Quotations. So let's see what we got tonight. All right. Evenings steeped in honed indolence. Ode to indolence. And I'm going to end with one of my own. Every billionaire is a policy failure. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you, as always, every Thursday at 5 o'clock and every Tuesday at 7 or 8 on Figure Fight Club. Join me and kick it and say hi. Y'all have a great evening. Love, peace, and chicken grease.